Welcome to Yuno and Kenzo Koga, where ancient wisdom meets modern life.
Subscribe now and join us on this journey of awakening. If this resonates, tap like and share it with someone who would appreciate a moment of peace today. And feel free to share any thoughts or reflections in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We love taking fascinating ideas and really unpacking them for you.
That's the goal.
And today, we're diving into something that might just flip your whole understanding of profound wisdom, well, completely on its head. For a moment, let's maybe set aside the usual image, quiet contemplation, that solemn search for enlightenment.
That's serious stuff.
Exactly. What if the deepest insights, the most powerful ways to find a lighter, more, awakened life, weren't found in silence at all?
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where then?
What if they're found in something as simple and maybe as profound as laughter?
Laughter. Okay, interesting.
So our mission today is to explore exactly that. How joy, how being present, and even a pretty unique take on humor, especially facing death, can actually be these powerful paths.
Powerful paths to what, though?
To a genuinely awakened existence. We're going to trace this idea from a young man's personal journey in ancient Japan, all the way to this captivating, completely wordless story of legendary monks. Their only teaching, just their own infectious, liberating laughter.
Wow, okay.
It's really a dive into finding contentment, finding meaning in places we just usually overlook.
It sounds like a remarkable journey, truly, because we're looking at why these approaches, which seem so simple, almost counterintuitive, like focusing intensely on right now, or just this unbridled joy, why they offer such deep insights. Insights for finding contentment, meaning when our lives feel so, busy and overwhelmed.
Right.
It definitely challenges our assumptions about what spiritual or wise even looks like.
It does.
Suggesting that maybe wisdom isn't always in the grand gesture or the complex idea, but maybe it's often in the beautifully simple.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our first story takes us back, way back, to a small village near Kyoto in Japan.
Okay.
And here we meet a young man named Kai. Now, Kai was, he was restless in a way that might feel pretty familiar.
That searching feeling.
Exactly. Always looking for the next thing, the next adventure, the next challenge, constantly feeling like something more was just out of reach.
I think many people can relate to that.
Yeah, you might recognize that feeling, that sort of persistent itch for what's next, what's bigger, what's finally going to make things feel, complete. He was just never really content where he was.
Always chasing the horizon.
Pretty much. And this restlessness, this real yearning for purpose, it drove him to take this pretty arduous journey.
Okay.
He'd heard whispers about a great Zen master living way up on a nearby mountain. So Kai, filled with this mix of desperation and hope.
A potent combination.
Right. He decides he has to seek him out. He really believed this wise old man could finally point him towards purpose, towards meaning in his life.
You can picture that climb.
Totally. The physical effort, the mental focus, all just fueled by this hope of finding some kind of understanding at the top.
And so he gets there, he reaches the master's place high up in the mountains.
He does.
And the old man welcomes him.
With this warm, kind of knowing smile. Invites him in, lets him sit, share what's on his mind. And Kai just lets it all out, poured everything out. His restlessness, his constant search for something more, this feeling that satisfaction was always just slipping away.
And the master
listened patiently, very calmly, his gaze just steady. And then, almost out of nowhere, he hands Kai a simple cup of tea.
Tea?
And he says, "Drink this tea. It is the finest in all of Japan."
The finest. So Kai is expecting something amazing.
Naturally.
Wow.
He takes a careful sip, prepping his palate for something transcendent. Yeah. And he's surprised. It tastes, fine, good tea maybe, but nothing different from any other cup he'd ever had. Not the miracle he was sort of braced for.
Huh. So he tells the master this.
Yeah, he voices his confusion, probably expecting some deep, complex explanation.
But that's not what he gets.
Not at all. The master just smiles, that gentle crinkle at the eyes. And here's the real pivot, the lesson. His response was, "Kai, the tea is not what is important.
Yeah.
It is the act of drinking it. It is the act of being present in the moment and appreciating what is right in front of you."
Wow. So simple but profound. It wasn't about the what, But the how.
Exactly. Not the flavor, not the quality, but the experience, the awareness, the attention you bring to just that simple everyday act.
That's a huge teaching hidden in plain sight.
And that right there was Kai's aha moment. It just clicked deep inside him.
I bet.
He realized he'd been so caught up in the future, that next adventure, next challenge, that he'd completely missed the beauty of now.
He'd been looking right past it.
Totally. He thanked the master, this genuine understanding finally settling in. And as he walked back down the mountain, he wasn't just physically lighter.
No.
He felt this incredible inner lightness, a contentment he hadn't felt in years. It hit him. True happiness came not from seeking more, but from appreciating what was already there.
That is such a powerful shift. From always striving, to just
appreciating.
Yeah.
It's almost radical, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And Kai's journey, it really sums up a core Zen message, one that's just as relevant now as it was then.
Which is?
That happiness is not found in the pursuit of more, but in the appreciation of what we already have. Simple, but not easy.
Right.
It highlights these invaluable lessons.
Yeah.
Being present, appreciating simplicity, finding peace and stillness right here, right now.
Which is tough when everything pushes us towards more.
Exactly. That drive for more success, more experiences, more stuff, it feels almost built in for many of us. Ambition.
Yeah.
But Zen isn't saying ditch ambition. It's suggesting we maybe integrate it with appreciating the present moment.
Okay, so it's not either.
Not necessarily. It's about finding contentment in the journey, not just pinning all our hopes on the destination. It's a fundamental shift in perspective that can really change our daily lives, letting us find joy and peace even amid the chaos.
That's a really critical distinction. Not becoming passive, just deeply engaged with what is. Okay, so from that very personal journey of presence, let's shift gears to something maybe even more remarkable, something that really challenges our ideas about spiritual teaching, about collective joy.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
The ancient story of the 3 laughing monks of China.
Ah, yes, the laughing monks.
Their method was just extraordinary. They traveled from town to town. But here's the thing. They never preached. They never taught with words.
Only through laughter.
Only through their joyful laughter. That was it. That was their whole practice, their whole teaching.
So how did 3 monks spread awakening through laughter alone? What does that even mean?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's an extraordinary concept. Their infectious, completely wordless joy was the message. They weren't trying to explain complicated ideas.
No doctrines, no sutras.
Exactly. They were just embodying the essence of awakening. Laughter, in their context, wasn't just, ha-ha funny. It was this profound, energetic shift.
A shift. How so?
Think about what happens when you really laugh. Like uninhibitedly. Your breath changes, your heart rate, you get that flood of endorphins. It's a physiological release.
Right, you feel lighter.
Precisely. And that physical and mental lightening helps us bypass the part of our brain that's always analyzing, always thinking. It lets us tap into a more immediate, intuitive sense of just well-being, a direct hit of the present moment.
So awakening through laughter means
What?
finding liberation through lightness.
Sort of, yeah. It suggests that true liberation isn't only about hard discipline or solemn focus. It can also be about this profound lightness of being that just naturally bubbles up.
That's pretty different from many spiritual paths.
It's radical, but it actually aligns with Zen's ultimate aim, shedding the layers of conditioning, the seriousness that hides our natural joyful state.
So the awakening isn't getting something new.
No, it's recognizing and reconnecting with the joy that's already inherent within us, underneath everything else, regardless of what's happening outside. It's a massive shift in perception, where life itself, even the hard parts, can be met with this underlying lightness that changes how we experience suffering.
Wow. Ontological joy, almost.
Yeah.
Not just fleeting happiness. Okay, so if these monks were only teaching through laughter, if their whole vibe was this unrestrained joy, it implies that joy in this Zen way isn't just an occasional feeling. It's something much deeper, more potent.
A fundamental state.
Which leads to a really big question. Why? Why can joy be more powerful than fear or sorrow? How does it actually dissolve fear, not just paper over it?
That's a critical point and a really important question. You could see the monks' constant laughter as this deliberate, unwavering choice for joy, not as a reaction, but as their baseline reality.
Okay.
And when you cultivate joy like that as your fundamental state, you're not denying fear or sorrow exists, you're just operating from a different level entirely.
A higher frequency, maybe. Metaphorically speaking.
You could put it that way. Joy, in this deep sense, isn't superficial happiness. It's a resilient internal state that can genuinely loosen the grip of fear and sorrow.
How, though? What's the mechanism?
Well, think about fear. Fear constricts, right? It narrows our focus, tenses our body, spins us into worry cycles.
Definitely.
But genuine joy, it's expansive. It literally opens us up, changes posture, breathing, releases tension. It's physically hard to stay clenched in fear when your whole system is vibrating with open, free laughter.
That makes sense physiologically.
Right. It's not about ignoring fear, but about fundamentally changing the inner landscape so fear just doesn't have the same power to dominate. Laughter breaks those negative thought loops.
It interrupts the pattern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It brings in lightness, perspective. Suddenly, challenges might seem less like overwhelming threats and more like transient things you can navigate with some inner strength. It creates freedom by lightening the load, the attachments that usually keep us stuck in suffering.
So you're consciously embracing a state that reorients your whole outlook.
Yes. You're choosing to release the attachment to those negative states by actively cultivating a more expansive one.
That's an incredible insight. Joy not masking fear, but changing our whole relationship to it, which makes you wonder how that state might affect our view of, well, the ultimate fear for many, mortality.
Precisely.
And the story of the monk's final act, it just takes this wisdom to a whole other level. We hear this legendary tale, one monk died, and fireworks lit up the sky.
Fireworks.
Think about that.
Yeah.
In almost every culture, death means grief, silence, solemn rituals. But for this monk, his passing was marked by this spectacular, celebratory explosion of light and sound. It just completely flips our expectations.
It truly does. This is pure Zen wisdom on facing life and death with humor and freedom. It's shown in the most vivid, most radical way possible.
So what is that joyful departure, the fireworks, what does it teach us?
It teaches us that death doesn't have to be the ultimate sorrow, the tragic end. It can be seen as a final, joyous release, a transition. Yes. It's a profound statement of non-attachment. Not just to the stuff of life, but even to the idea of death as a tragedy. The fireworks aren't just, a quirky detail. They're a metaphor for the monk's entire life.
Vibrant, light-filled, celebratory.
Exactly. Right up to the very end. It challenges that deep cultural conditioning so many of us have around death, the fear, the sadness, the heavy rituals.
It really does.
For these monks, maybe death wasn't an ending to be mourned, but a culmination. A final act of liberation from the ties of the physical world. It embodies the power of joy so fully that it transcends the usual human reaction to loss.
Wow.
It invites us to look at mortality not just with dread, but maybe with a sense of wonder, freedom, even celebration. It affirms that joy can be the ultimate state, even at life's very end.
That is an incredibly liberating thought. To reframe something so universal and often so feared. Okay, so connecting all these threads, what does this mean for you listening right now?
Yeah, the practical side.
We've talked about Kai finding peace in presence, just appreciating his tea. We've talked about the laughing monks showing a path through pure, uninhibited joy, even facing death with a smile, with fireworks.
Amazing stories.
They are. But how do we realistically bring some of that laughter, that lightness, into our own daily lives without moving to a mountaintop or wandering around giggling all day?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? Because these aren't just old stories. They're like blueprints for living.
Right.
And the practical steps are often quite simple. They echo both Kai's lesson and the monk's way. One key is to consciously look for moments of appreciation, just like Kai with his tea.
Oh, like what?
It could be really tasting your morning coffee instead of just gulping it down. Really listening to a piece of music you love, noticing the sunlight through the window. Simple things.
Pulling your awareness into the now.
Exactly. Pulling it away from regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. Just landing right here.
Okay, what else?
Another powerful thing is to actively look for the humor in everyday situations. Because life is often absurd.
Sometimes, yeah.
There's real freedom in acknowledging that.
Yeah.
Look for the lighthearted angle, the irony, the funny little things in your day. It's not about pretending everything's great.
No forced positivity.
Right. It's about choosing a perspective that lets you see the lighter side more often, and maybe the most important part.
Go on.
Giving yourself permission to just laugh. Freely. When something is genuinely funny or joyful, let it out. Don't censor it. Don't judge it.
Let yourself feel amused.
Yes! Cultivate an inner space where joy isn't squashed, but welcomed, because you understand how powerful it actually is.
So it's less about forcing constant happiness and more about creating space for joy, actively choosing that lens of appreciation and lightness.
That's it. Perfect.
embodying those lessons.
Mhm.
Kai appreciating the simple act, the monks living as pure joy. It sounds like it comes down to mindset and a series of small, conscious choices every day.
Exactly. And we're really just reinforcing how profoundly simple these practices can be, even if they're not always easy to maintain. It brings us back to those core insights.
Like what?
Like, laughter is freedom. When you truly laugh, you are, just for that moment, free. Free from worry, from ego, from self-consciousness, free from the weight of your own mind.
That feels true.
Joy is awakening. When you consistently choose to cultivate and express joy, you're waking up to the fullness of your present experience, shedding the illusions that keep you feeling trapped or limited.
Hmm.
And maybe the most beautiful one. Sometimes enlightenment sounds like laughter.
I like that.
It's a liberating thought, isn't it? That the path to deep understanding, to real freedom, isn't always solemn and serious. Sometimes it's gloriously, infectiously, audibly joyful.
Wow, what a journey we've taken today. Seriously, from Kai finding this deep presence in just a cup of tea, to the incredible power of the three laughing monks, teaching awakening without a single word, just laughter. And then that amazing wisdom of facing life and even death with joyful freedom, with fireworks. It really makes you reconsider where wisdom comes from and how we look for it.
Absolutely. And these aren't just, ancient history or abstract ideas from far away.
No.
They are genuinely timeless principles, things that can really impact our own daily lives right now. They invite us to find the sacred in the ordinary.
And the profound in the simple smile or laugh.
Exactly. Reminding us that maybe the most transformative wisdom is actually much closer, maybe much simpler than we usually think.
So as you go about your day after listening to this, we really want to leave you with this thought to mull over. What if the most profound acts of wisdom in your life today aren't about seeking something new or grand or distant? What if they're found simply in finding the laughter and finding the presence in what's already right here, right in front of you?
A powerful question.
What kind of shift could that bring to your own search for happiness, for meaning? We invite you to maybe find out for yourself.
Thank you for being here with us at Yuno and Kenzo Koga, where ancient wisdom meets modern life.
Subscribe now and join us on this journey of awakening. If this resonates, tap like and share it with someone who would appreciate a moment of peace today. And feel free to share any thoughts or reflections in the comments. We'd love to hear from you